Trigger warnings referring to images of violence, abuse, or narratives about experiences of suicide, racism, harassment, or war, all of these dominate a large section of contemporary discourse or media. The fundamental objective of trigger warnings is to primarily alert or warn the audience about an upcoming content that can potentially cause a traumatic past memory of theirs to re-emerge in their thoughts. So this is done to make the audience psychologically prepared to process the upcoming content. However, most trigger warnings are just given for the sake of it. They do not even provide sufficient time for people to exit the environment if they are uncomfortable. And this negates the entire objective that trigger warnings aim to achieve. Research conducted by Bellet et al. In 2018 aimed to understand the psychological effects of trigger warnings. They had two groups in their experiment, and one group was given a trigger warning and another group was not given a trigger warning, after which both of the groups were given the same reading material to read. And the results indicated that the group that did get the trigger warning reported higher level of anxiety compared to the group that did not get the trigger warning. This indicates that trigger warnings can cause something called as nocebo effects. These effects are opposite to what we call as placebo effects. Nocebo effects refer to feelings of negative consequences or negative feelings or thoughts that arise as a result of negative expectations that are given to them. So these people in the group that did get the trigger warning started expecting that the reading material would be anxiety provoking to them. So trigger warnings can also cause catastrophizing of acute trauma. So people who have gone through death of a parent or a family member, or it can also be breakups in romantic relationships, might start feeling that these are certain things that they should be feeling bad about, just because these things are usually given a trigger warning for. Like, say for example, I've gone through a breakup in a relationship, and after a few months I see a post that gives me a trigger warning saying that this includes contents of breakup or something of that sort. Now, even though I might have overcome the psychological consequences of my breakup, the fact that I did witness a trigger warning might start making me feel that I should still feel bad about this particular breakup that I did went through. So this means that trigger warnings can make people over-pathologize symptoms of stress that they might have already overcome or that they're still in the process of overcoming. So in simple words, trigger warnings can cause people to self-diagnose themselves or undermine one's own control as well as resilience. Trigger warnings also reinforce negative connotations to certain memories that we have in our past. They normalize and pathologize the remembering of traumatic memories of our past, just making people anxious. Does this leave any space for healthier discussions about abusive or traumatic experiences that we have had? Does this make people more ready to face their past, or does this make people more afraid to accept their past? Trigger warnings, in that sense, prevent seeking help to work out one's past. However, this is not to trivialize traumatic experiences that people did go through. It's just a concern that trigger warnings can completely go against the fundamental goal of achieving better mental health in society. In summary, the use of trigger warnings in media raise concerns about the effectiveness in preparing individuals for distressing content and their potential to have negative psychological effects. There is also a concern that they may hinder healthier discussions about seeking mental health help for people who undergo traumatic experiences. Thank you.